Now, I'm discussing mythology once again here to reiterate the fact that there are layers of meaning when it comes to understanding icons. And the written word is the best example of an icon because it represents ideas. And not just any ideas. Ideas that have a purpose given to them by the Creator, and outlive the Creator because of the power of that word. So, as discussed in class before, there's always a purpose and meaning behind each myth we read. And that holds true even today, or actually even with today's literature. And although methods and motivations may differ, all literature, everything has a meaning and purpose behind why it's written. So to fully understand this novel and the ideas the author would like to present to his readers today, I would like to give actually a brief introduction to this book. Because to fully understand everything going on here, you need to know a lot of things as background before you can go in and delve into this book. And we will talk about it as we read the book. But for today, I'm going to hit a bunch of things and highlight some points, and it may just seem like a big jumble, but bear with me and let's see how this will go. So, as I said before, it's important to understand the motivations behind why it was written. So now we're going to turn our attention to Charles Dickens. Now, Charles Dickens is one of the most famous novelists of the Victorian age, and may actually be one of the most famous novelists of all time. Now, some of you may be making faces right now, because you may not completely agree with my previous statement, but he is actually one of the most read authors, well, ever. This does not mean he has to be your favorite author. I can tell you, when I first read Great Expectations, another book by him, I was not completely happy with the writing either. The important part is that you should appreciate his talent and the unique quality of his work. Let's look a little bit at his personal history. He was born in 1812 to a family of good means. His father worked in the Navy Bank, but because his father tended towards spending more than they actually earned, his family was reduced to a state of poverty. His dad actually was sent to a debtor's prison, so there was nobody left to provide for the family. At the age of 12, he was forced to leave school and had to work at a boot blacking factory, earning 8 shillings a week to support his family. And just as a point of interest, I did the calculation. Nowadays, £1 equals 100 pennies, but back then, £1 equaled 20 shillings or 240 pennies. And so you can see that it is less than £1. And so basically his family was having to live off of less than £1 every week. You can see that his living situation wasn't the best of situations, and he really went through some tough times. He also grew up during a time period when there were no laws protecting workers in factories. Remember, the Industrial Revolution just happened, so they're just getting the hang of things right now. And also, since he's 12 years old, you can tell there are no child labor laws as well. You can also see that his childhood would put him in a perfect position to see these cruel conditions and give him a unique perspective on this life. His childhood influenced him greatly as an adult and as a writer, and you see these strands of social reform that run throughout all his work. He's going to dedicate the rest of his writing career and his life to promoting, raising awareness, and making people see that reform is badly needed. And he's not unique to this. Other writers of the time also did this as well, but he's very well known for this. And also, as other points of interest, he is known for his unique and striking characters and colorful narratives. Well, as a little segue, I would like to present something, well, completely different. If you would like to know what books they were talking about in the sketch in regard to Dickens, here they are. David Copperfield, Great Expectations, The Life and Adventures of Nicholas Nickleby, A Christmas Carol, A Tale of Two Cities, and Barnaby Rudge. I hope you enjoyed it. I love Monty Python, and I thought it was appropriate. Anyway, before we take our break, I just want to quickly mention a few notes about the Victorian age. I mentioned a while ago that he was a Victorian age writer. This age is very easy to define time-wise because it is during the time period that Queen Victoria ruled England, approximately 1837 to 1901. In terms of literature, however, it differs slightly from the period that preceded it. Technically, the Romantic period came before this, but I will be using Jane Austen as an example, and she's sometimes considered a pre-Victorian author because her work and other works by her contemporaries lead right into this period. Authors like Jane Austen opened the way for authors of the Victorian age to use the format of a novel to present satire or social commentary. But the important difference between these periods is the subject matter presented in the works of the previous age and then compared to the Victorian age. We're going to use the example of Jane Austen's light-hearted, sweet themes, and then if you compare it to A Tale of Two Cities, you realize that this novel that we're going to read in class for this month actually contains much darker themes. Now, the Victorian age is also known for having plots that feature the heroes as hard-working people who come from difficult circumstances and persevere, mirroring the rising middle class that is becoming increasingly present during this time. Remember that previously there were the nobility and the lower class, but because of the Industrial Revolution and other avenues through which people could make money, there were more opportunities for people to become well off in their lives. Just keep these things in mind as we read this book, and remember these attributes later as well when you read a book from this time period. It will help you immensely in understanding what the author wants if you know what the factors influencing it are. So, let's take a break, and we will begin the introduction to A Tale of Two Cities in a few minutes.